Kevin Williams here on the Shore Sports Network, catching up with an old friend, Todd Frazier, who, like many, is dying for sports to resume, and in his case, of course, the Major League Baseball season. And he remains home in Toms River with his wife and 3 children, and is good enough to give us a few minutes to catch up with him during these incredible times. First of all, Todd, most important thing, everyone in your family healthy.
Yeah, everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing great. How about yours? Everybody doing good?
We're all good. A couple of people in Hoboken are a little bent up, stuck in apartments, looking to get out of there and get some fresh air soon.
I know. I've talked to the one, so he's not happy, but he's making the best with what he's got. So he'll be all right.
I looked, and had things been normal, today would have been an off day for the Texas Rangers, and you would have been flying to Boston to start a weekend series at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. And here you are sitting in Toms River, and you got to be chomping at the bit.
Yeah, man, that would be nice. I love playing in Fenway. I would have had a lot of people at that game, of course. But yeah, we are. I mean, I read the reports and basically what the doctors, or Dr. Fauci, and what Major League Baseball and the Players Union are trying to come up with, but nothing really has been set in stone. We haven't heard much. Most of them are just premature, just trying to get something out there so we can spark a fire or a flame. And we're still far behind from where we want to be.
Now, this has got to be a little bit even challenging for you, despite the fact that this is your 10th season, you've been around a little bit, but obviously a new team, the Texas Rangers. You started spring training in Arizona and kind of had that interrupted. Had you established a rapport with that team? Did you kind of feel like you were really a Ranger?
Yeah, I did. I think we almost got a month in when hitters arrived. We had a really good time. We had a really good team. Good chemistry, starting with Shin-Soo Choo and Elvis Andrews, and the young guys. My personality, I feel like I could fit with any group. So it was good. I still talk to the guys today. We have Zoom calls, stuff like this. They had an MLB The Show tournament with just our team. And, I'm actually with one of the coaches, we're going to go on Zoom call starting tomorrow. We're going to learn Spanish a little more. So we're doing stuff together. So, which can integrate with baseball. So if I can learn a little bit more about my Spanish, I can understand whether they're being nice to me or talking a little smack. So I'll figure it out.
I know. Wait a second. Did you take Spanish when you were at Toms River South?
I did, but I only took 2 years, and that just went over my head. So I wish, if I knew I was going to be a professional baseball player then, definitely knew, I probably would have taken it in college too. So it would have been that much easier for me.
You are a guy who pours your heart and soul into the game, regardless of the team you've been with. I think the Rangers are your 5th ball club, your 5th professional ball club. How quick can Todd Frazier become like a leader on a team that's new to him? You are one of the veterans, but how quick? Is it something that takes time, or do you step right into that role?
I think it depends. I'm a guy who likes to talk. I'm a guy that will kind of, drift towards the younger guy. Just who I am, because I want him. That's what a lot of older guys do with me, the Ryan Ludwigs, to, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Scott Rowlands of the world, to name a couple that, kind of linked to me and said, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done. And, baseball is changing a lot now, especially, with younger guys coming up. It's different. Usually you just sit in your cube in your locker and you don't say nothing. And now when they come up, there's so much more to learn. There's so much more that they need to be integrated with, and they talk a lot. So I want to at least show them the way that you're supposed to treat, how a veteran's supposed to treat a young guy, whether it's taking him out to dinner or buying him a suit when he gets, his first action of playing. And it's the untold stories that, most people don't hear about. So I just want to make sure that, they understand that old school way of going about things, that we don't lose that as well.
How was your spring going when it was interrupted in mid-March? How did you feel? I know last year you were hurt early in the year. It took you a little while. Were you in good shape going in?
Yeah, I felt really good. This was the first year where I didn't have any complaints, any problems. That last game we played, I felt really good. I hit a double. Excuse me. I hit a double, and, things were cooking there. But, nothing you can do right now.
So what do you do to stay in shape? How are you trying to stay in shape? Obviously, if and when baseball does resume, there'll be some kind of spring training, even if it's in the summer. But what are you doing now?
Well, I have a weight room downstairs. My wife usually uses. I kind of taking that from her, all pink weights down there and stuff. But it's got enough stuff that I can use. I do Zoom calls with a buddy of mine that helps me out because I need somebody to push me when it comes to weight. Sometimes it's like a regular person. I need that push, but I'll run in my driveway here. I'll run on the street. My neighbors, get a good laugh if I run by them. They're doing their fake runs in the windows, and this type of memories you'll never forget. And then I'll hit at one of the local schools with my brother, but I'm using all the precautions. I took a video or a picture yesterday or a couple of days ago with the mask on and the gloves, and I make sure my brother wears gloves so he's not touching any of the baseball. So we take every precaution, but I have to get some kind of hitting in, and I'm trying to make a batting cage in the backyard, and that's not coming. It's going to take a little longer to make. So,
one of the positives for you is you are getting time at home that you would never have. Let's face it, probably since you played Little League Baseball, you've never been at the end of April, and tomorrow's May 1st, been home not doing anything. But here it is with the 3 young kids at home, 6, 5, and 1. How has that been for you?
Hey, it's been great. It's been great. I told you before you're ready for the interview. I said, no, homework's not done. So we were going over math problems, and it's a lot of fun. There's some, let's be honest, there's some trying days, when, you just want to lose it every once in a while, but you go back, whenever I have that time, I just tackle my older son and then we wrestle and then I feel better afterwards. So, it's been a lot of fun. We create a lot of different games. We create a lot of different scenarios of doing stuff, and I feel like I'm teaching him a lot of good things that he can learn at his age, and hopefully be better off for it. So it's exciting to be home, but do I wish I was playing baseball? Of course, but to be with the family this time is great.
All right, now listen, do you do the domestic chores at home? First of all, do you cook it all?
A little. The only thing I really cook is pork, egg, and cheeses. So my son will be like, hey, Dad, is it that type of day? I said, yeah. So I'll make a playa bowl or a pork, egg, and cheese. I'm really good at that. That's about it. Or a sandwich, but the meat's already ready to go. So something simple like that.
Are you also like me where you're also good at picking up the phone and calling for takeout?
Yeah, I do. That's on the weekends. We try and eat as much as we can at home. But every Friday I feel like it's pizza night, and takeout's where it's at, baby.
Now, when you do get back to baseball, and obviously there's all these different scenarios they've come up with, I'm sure you've followed them, and one of them involves games being played, your new stadium being one of the sites, Globe Life Field. Had you gotten a chance to see the new stadium?
Well, I went there when they said it was 91% done, so I didn't really get to go inside because construction wasn't done, but the outside is unbelievable. It's really electric. A lot of good nightlife, good restaurants, but the pictures, they said the locker room's, an acre long. So, I mean, that's got to be, they said it's the biggest locker room in sports history. So they have stuff in there I can't wait to try out. I told my wife I might not be coming home until 1, 2 in the morning. So just be aware.
Obviously one of the conversations with, regardless of what plan they go with, it looks like when it does go back, there'll be no fans. Now, you're a guy who feeds off the energy of fans. That has got to be something that it's going to be challenging.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, we just want to get back there. But, to knowing there's no fans, I think it'll be interesting because when we do get back, I mean, as a viewer's point, it's one of those things where let's turn the volume up and let's hear what these guys are really saying. You're going to be able to hear everything. I think that's the most intriguing part about it. Would I rather have fans? Of course, because I think that's what makes baseball, to a point. But you're going to hear some guys saying the wrong cuts or saying the wrong base, and you're like, all right, so now let's not yell at this guy for striking out. It was this guy in the second inning who actually said the wrong thing. So fans will get a different perspective on the game, which I think will be exciting. And you're going to hear me because I talk the whole game, and you're going to probably get sick of my voice, just like that kid in Little League that just says way too much. So it'll be exciting, but, do we want fans? Of course we do.
Yeah. But again, for you, really what you would just want to do right now is get back on the field.
Yeah.
Safely, right?
Exactly. And I told one of our assistant GMs, we talk. I mean, I keep in touch with our manager, our coach, Woody. Chris Woodward and some of the coaches. But I told him, I said, listen, I'm all for it. If I got to not be with my family for 4 months, okay, I can deal with that. As long as we're getting paid the way we should be, and as long as, the biggest concern was if we go a week or a month in and all of a sudden they said, oh, we made a mistake, too many guys are getting the virus. My wife's going to not let me back in the house. I got to, one, get on the plane to come home, and two, I got 3 kids, and that's the last thing we need. So I said, are you guys going to pay for an apartment? Am I going to get a private plane? To be honest, it's not that far-fetched of questions that we just got to make sure we're 100% right, and we'll get the test every day, and we go from there.
Yeah, it's very different for someone like you, married with 3 young kids, than a 21-year-old who's single. Clearly, you have to think of other people.
Exactly. And, my youngest son, Grant, his immune system's not good as it is. I want to hug and kiss him every day. And there's, that definitely wouldn't. I'd have to quarantine myself for 14 days. And are they going to provide that for me, or what's going to happen? So there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions before we get going that need to be answered. And once that happens, let's see what happens. I just don't have the answers.
I also just want to ask you, you have to feel terrible for not just the major league ball players and even the minor league players, but think of yourself, the high school baseball players, and especially the seniors, who it looks like they're going to miss out on their final season, and for some maybe a chance to try and make an impression that would get them an invite to a college or a scholarship, and they're all missing that. That's got to be really difficult.
Oh man, gut-wrenching. I mean, for me, I was fortunate enough to be good when I was sophomore, junior in high school. But the signing day is usually junior year, so I hope and pray those guys put their best foot forward. And it's cliche, but like what Ken Franco always used to say, give 110% every day. You never know who's watching, who you're going to impress during that day, and it does. It stinks. I feel for those guys. I've read a lot of quotes and what they write online. Some guys that said this was our year to win a state championship, in all different sports. But you got to try and take the positive. When they're older, I hope they understand, what they went through, and they won't take anything for granted, because if stuff like this does happen again, we'll be prepared, and hopefully, a college can understand, this kid's good. Let's take a chance on him, and hopefully that'll happen.
All right. So one more thing, and I'll let you go, and that is, who's been doing your hair? Because you look pretty neat and clean, man. You got the shave. Did you do it yourself?
I did this yesterday. My wife did it. She's got all the boys got mohawks. I needed this to grow out more on top, and she did a great job, I think. So I haven't had a mohawk since AA. That was in 2007 or 8. So I said, might as well. It'll grow back. Nobody's going to see me, and let's have some fun with it.
Have you worn anything but sweatpants and shorts the last 6 weeks?
I think I put a pair of jeans on one time. My wife had them on during the day. I'm like, let me try them on. I think it felt terrible. So, yes, I haven't worn much else. So that's about it.
I appreciate you letting us come into your home, into your wife's office, by the way, because I can't imagine that would be your office with all the white in there. But it was great to catch up with you.
I got homework here I got to do with the kids. So
there you go. Hiding fish.
Let's go, baby.
You have trouble with any of the math, by the way? Is any of Blake's math challenging for you?
No, my son Blake, he's smart. He's 6. He's doing long division. So, listen, if I gave you 3,145 divided by 4, would you know how to do it on a piece of paper? And I totally forgot. So the teacher, Miss Celia, had to help me out, and I finally figured it out. And he does it like nothing. So he's a very smart kid. He's a brainiac, and he's keeping me on my toes with this homework. But yes, we're getting there.
Enjoy the time at home. Hopefully it doesn't last too much longer. Really looking forward to number 21 in a Texas Rangers uniform this season at some point.
Me too. Thanks, Kev. We'll talk soon, man.
I appreciate it, Todd. Thank you so much.
You got it.